Hey everybody, it's Thaddeus from PrimalHacker, and today I have a very different presentation for all of you. So today is sunglasses and what they have to do with the simulation that we're currently living in. Now, many people obviously have seen The Matrix. This is a scene from The Matrix 4. And The Matrix originally debuted in 1999. And of course, if you paid attention to the 99 movie, and even the one of today, you would notice that all the main characters are wearing sunglasses. All the characters that break free, and I'm putting this in quotes, that quote unquote break free of the Matrix when they come back in to the Matrix from the quote-unquote real world, which may or may not be the real world, but when they come into the Matrix world, they're all wearing sunglasses. And that also includes the agents. So Agent Smith and the others are also all wearing sunglasses. So the question is, what the heck do sunglasses have to do with the simulation from movies? And how are movies using sunglasses to tell us more about the simulation that we live in? I'm going to show you how quite a few movies are using sunglasses to represent the simulation, and how what you want to do in real life is the opposite of what they're showing you to do in the movies. And it will give you the effect of sunglasses in the simulation by doing the opposite. So, of course, the movies reveal some truth, and the truth that they reveal is backwards. Now, if you're into gematria, you can look up what that means, but it's basically using numerology and numbers to decode the world we live in. You can type into a gematria calculator sunglasses and simulation. They will give you the same numerical value in the Chaldean. And I wish I had a slide for you on that, but I think it's either 35 or 45, but they equal the same exact value. That sunglasses and simulation give you the same value when you add up their numbers in gematria. So the simulation has something to do with sunglasses, and the way they show it in the movies is telling you that light is information. This is a really critical point. Look at the green behind the characters and look at all the information that's streaming through the world, through the matrix, through our consciousness, through our retinas and into our brain every second of every day. This is pure information. In the simulation, though, especially as we look at the Matrix, and I'll show you a couple others, light is artificial, and you need the sunglasses to block the quote-unquote fake information that's showing you the fake world. So we know that when the characters here enter the Matrix and put on their sunglasses, they're moving into a world that's completely fake. And I would argue that the sunglasses that you see people wearing are representations that they have woken up. I'm going to show you why in our world that wearing sunglasses are showing who is still asleep. And that's assuming, obviously this is a picture of Tomorrow and I, but wearing sunglasses shows that you're sleeping if you wear them at the wrong time of the day, because you're bombarding your retinas and your brain with information that is absolutely fake. And you need to block that just like they do in the movies. But in our world, unlike the movies, things are reversed. The simulation in our world, our simulation is reversed over what you see in the movies. It's the mirror. You need to flip this. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to take it back, and my best guess is that I have these movies in order of calendar dates when they were released. At least in my mind, that's how it goes, and it's based on how I remember that I saw them. So if you want to put into the comments the actual timeline that these movies progress in, I'm doing this based on my recollection of the timeline. This movie was one of the first that I was aware of. This is called They Live. And honestly, if you are listening to this channel and you still have not seen the movie They Live, stop right now, go out and rent this movie, watch this movie. It's probably free on all channels now because it's so old. But it can be a little slow at times and super corny. Of course, Rowdy Roddy Piper is the main character, who was a professional wrestler back in the 80s. And he's not the best actor, but this is a documentary. So when people tell you that The Matrix was a documentary, Keanu Reeves says that as well. Rowdy Roddy Piper, before he died, said that They Live is a documentary and not fiction. So in this movie, and I'm going to give you a few spoilers here, so if you haven't seen it, stop the video now, go watch They Live. The main character, he puts on, and his name is John, he puts on a pair of sunglasses, and those sunglasses allow him to see differently. They block the programmed information telling his brain how to make out the world around him. So you can see these signs behind him, and they're basically all over the buildings, and I'll show you another screenshot here, that these subliminal messages are being sent through the airwaves using wireless technology. And in this case, in the movie, they were installed on a specific building. This wireless technology was sending out these signals to give people information about the world they live in that wasn't true. It was covering up the subliminals that underlie everything. And by putting on these special glasses to block that information, he could see reality as it was. And he saw these creatures that when the sunglasses were off, they looked human. And when the sunglasses were on, they looked alien. When he had the sunglasses on, the billboards and the newspapers and the magazines had this subliminal programming that was very basic, as you can see behind him over his shoulder. Conform, obey, consume. Let me show you the next slide. Because how old this movie was, just think about the subliminals that they're telling you. So obey, buy, money is your God, consume, work 8 hours a day, stay asleep, surrender, this is your God, sleep. I mean, over and over, this messaging was going on subliminally, keeping people asleep. And only by wearing the sunglasses was the character able to see the world as it was. And I'm arguing in our simulation, you need to do the opposite of what they're doing here. And we're going to get into some details, but let me go through a few more screenshots of additional movies that use glasses and sunglasses to represent the simulation and knowledge of the simulation in these worlds. So, just one more screenshot. So, work 8 hours, sleep, buy, conform, no thought, watch TV. I mean, they're telling you here what's being done to you, but people thought that this was fiction and a movie and did exactly what they were told. They stayed asleep. Meanwhile, these wireless microwave devices that are on top of this building here, on top of the letter U from consume, were microwaving the planet into believing that reality was different than it was and allowing everyone to stay asleep. Pretty interesting, huh? Next up, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger from the Terminator. This is Terminator 1, and in Terminator 1, what is the robot from the future that went back in time wearing throughout the whole movie? The sunglasses, representing the artificial, the simulation, he's the artificial robot sent back in time to change reality. Fast forward to the next one. Terminator 2, same thing. Still wearing the sunglasses to represent the simulated reality. That, in this case, he was the simulated reality. The robot, the man, made out of metal underneath a human skin that no one is supposed to know is human. That's part of his camouflage. I'm not exactly sure if this counts, but I do think it's important because it's in the mainstream narrative today, and that is Top Gun. So we all remember Top Gun with Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise. And what are the characters wearing in the new simulation of Top Gun that is basically programming you to what? To want to go to battle with a foreign country and to think all of that is real and that is the highest level of morality that we can possibly do, is to get into metallic tubes and go kill other people simply because they're wearing different color uniforms. I mean, really, isn't that what it comes down to? That someone's wearing a different color shirt than you are? I'm wearing green. This person's wearing blue. How many people here want to sign up and go kill all those people wearing the blue shirts? And as James True says, in every crowd, you get a few takers. And simply for wearing different uniforms or a plane with a different flag, we'll go kill those humans. And the programming of our simulated reality, again, represented by lots of people wearing the sunglasses on their faces. So that was Top Gun. Now this one is extremely obvious because in this case, you have to be wearing the sunglasses. So this is, of course, Men in Black, Will Smith, and Tommy Lee Jones. And by wearing the sunglasses, you are free from the simulated reality. So when they use their flash sticks and they flash people to reset the programming of those people's minds, they have to be wearing the sunglasses to block the simulated information from reaching their eyes, because information is what builds the reality all around us. So by ignoring that information, they get to see reality as it is and not as it is being simulated for them by implanting false memories. Imagine what that means in our simulation if it's reversed. Okay, we fast forward to The Truman Show, or The True Man Show. True Man. So this was the director of The Truman Show, and I'm not sure that this is super obvious, but he's wearing glasses. Obviously, some people wear glasses, and there's going to be people wearing glasses and sunglasses represented in movies. But I'm arguing that because this movie is such an obvious take on the fact that our reality is in some way simulated and people in our reality are actors, and that there is a director or multiple directors that know more about this reality, and those people wear the glasses or the sunglasses to see through the simulation and to direct the simulation. Again, remember, it's the opposite. So I do think that these glasses are representatives of that simulated nature. Okay, we fast forward beyond the True Man Show into the Matrix. And of course, we talked about this in the beginning, but light is information. And if the simulation is artificial and the artificial information is what you're trying to block or show that you are free from that information, then you wear the sunglasses. Another simulated reality, Avatar. So Avatar, one of the only non-avatars. So of course the avatars are the researchers and the one military person or ex-military person who are using the shells of the avatars to simulate the reality or animate these bodies through a simulated connection. They can obviously see, but nobody else can understand why this planet should remain free and not oppressed and not kill off all the indigenous people and wildlife. But the one person on the outside who hasn't been in a simulated body that can see, that seems to be able to block the simulation from programming them, is the person wearing the sunglasses, who in this case was the pilot. Finally, Free Guy. So if you haven't seen Free Guy, it's kind of a stupid movie, but it's also very revealing of reality. Both how reality has gotten more and more ridiculous today, but also the fact that these non-player characters that aren't supposed to be able to see the simulated reality around them and to even know that they're in a simulated reality are not wearing sunglasses, but all of the quote-unquote character players or player characters are wearing sunglasses. And when one of the non-player characters, the NPCs, puts on the sunglasses, he is able to see the world all around him is very different than what he saw before. But only when he puts the sunglasses on can he see that it's a simulation of reality and that there is more to it than before he had the glasses on. Okay, fast forward to present day, at least if you're watching this in 2022, and who's wearing the simulation on their face right now, or the sunglasses? You'll have to watch the video to see the photo. Now, here's where we start getting some information, where we start to talk about light and why they're wearing sunglasses in the simulation. In today's world, or in the what I'm going to call the real world, which is the opposite of the movie world, you would say then that it's the NPCs that are wearing the sunglasses when they're being told to, because by giving them sunglasses when they're being programmed to wear them, they are going to miss the information about the reality all around them and instead be programmed to stay asleep to what is truly there. So if you're wearing your sunglasses as you have been told, that means you're wearing your sunglasses outside during the daytime when it's sunny, then you are cutting off your connection with nature and the information from our true world. Number one, if you've been alive for 20 years or longer, you have probably noticed that the sun is a new color. So I'm showing a depiction of the sun when it was actually yellow, and that's how the sun was every time I looked up at the sun since I was a little kid, up until the last 15 or so years, when the sun is now bright white. And if you haven't noticed this, it's probably because you're wearing sunglasses outside. When something goes from yellow to white, that means that it has more information. There's brighter light. It is more intense. That means more information is passing into our brains, our bodies, our cells, our avatars here on Earth every single day. And when you put on sunscreen, hats, clothing, and sunglasses, you block yourself from spiritual, pure information from the natural world, and then you remove those things indoors. You take off the sunglasses, you take off the hat, you don't wear the sunscreen, and you wear fewer clothes inside. And what does that do? That is programming you with pure, man-made, artificial, junk, light, and microwave information frequencies that are designed very specifically to keep you asleep, to keep you consuming, and to mine your data. They are not designed to wake you up. This is what you're being programmed to do outdoors. Does any other mammal, animal, reptile, plant, tree in the entire world wear sunglasses when they are outside? Then why do you think you need to? Part of the reason you should not be is because of this concept called the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is really just syncing your biology to the light and dark cycle of the planet or the plane or whatever it is that we live on. It has cycles of light and dark, and all life is tuned to the cycles of light and dark. Don't believe me? Think you're a night owl and you can stay up all night and that's when you do your best work? I call bullshit on that. Do you know why? Because humans are not nocturnal. Our biology is designed to sleep at night and be awake and active during the daylight hours. That's simple biology. Yes, you can override that biology and work at night. And yes, that will have true, pure, absolute biological consequences that are not your friend. You can only do it so long before you start to get sick. I guarantee that. Mice and rats are nocturnal, and their biology is designed to allow them to be awake, alert, and active at night. Humans is not. So when we sync to the light and dark cycles, we are optimally healthy, and we receive the information that we need to be alive at this time on the planet. This is a huge time of change. Nobody can argue that we're in this time of massive change. And the people that have the best information, the most information, and the correct information in this time are going to have a huge advantage over everyone else that is scared and confused. You need legit information right now. And you are being sold a bill of goods to wear sunglasses and to block the rays of the light that has the information that you need, while you're being spoon-fed, faked, contrived information to keep you asleep. Let's talk through this a little bit. How are we programmed in school? And this goes for colleges, elementary school, high school. There's no windows. There's artificial light. There's a Wi-Fi router in every room. The clock is prominent and centered. You are told what the right answers are and the right way to get the answer, and you must follow those things or you do not get credit and you do not move on. You are being programmed with so many frequencies and so many rules. So as we take a step back, this quote, not to realize that you have a circadian rhythm or a time structure in your body, is the same thing as going through life ignorant that you have a heart and lungs. It is so important that in 2017, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was given to researchers studying the circadian rhythm. How could it possibly have taken us this long to realize it was important? It didn't. It was suppressed, and it still is, even though there are thousands and thousands of published peer-reviewed papers that will tell you exactly what circadian rhythm and the information from the sun does, which is tell your body what hormones to release when. They have everything to do with your metabolism, how you gain and lose weight, how you reproduce. You don't want mammals in the northern climates trying to reproduce in the middle of winter when it is freezing cold, they're hibernating, and there's no food and water. That information comes from the sun. Your eating habits, your digestion, the temperature of your body, all of these things are set by information from our environment due to light and the information that comes from dark. Just because things are dark does not mean that there's no information there. It is a different type of information that is vitally important for your body, and I'm going to talk about that. And here's why. There's a light switch in your body, and there's a clock. It's called the master clock. The SCN, suprachiasmatic nucleus, is the master clock of the body that sets every clock that is contained in every cell and every organ of your body from the light that we sense in our environment. Do you want to sense junk, artificial, man-made synthetic light, or do you want to sense nature's light? They have very different information that will be sent to your body. And when your clocks are mismatched to the time that we are on this earth, catastrophe results. One of the fascinating things about the light and dark cycles are the hormones that are produced directly because of the light that we see. All animals, and that includes the nocturnal animals, only produce the hormone melatonin at night. It is the hormone of darkness. It is programmed in the body from the amino acid tryptophan, which turns to serotonin, and then serotonin becomes melatonin, which is the body's master anti-cancer hormone. It helps you rejuvenate and repair during sleep, and it has multitude of other factors that help your body that are not even known yet. If you do not program that amino acid tryptophan with natural sunlight to become melatonin, which is only released after 2 hours of darkness, then you do not get the benefits of it. So if you can imagine, if you never see the dark because you're a night owl or because you're looking at your phone all night, you are not going to get the melatonin. Now, one of the fascinating things about serotonin, melatonin in the body is look at their structures, their chemical makeup. There's like a 6-carbon hexagram here, and then there's a pentagram, and then there's a nitrogen compound with carbons attached to it. On all of it, tryptophan, serotonin, melatonin, and the molecule that many people are familiar with called DMT. DMT is so similar to melatonin, serotonin, and tryptophan, and that's because DMT is pure light information. If you gave somebody 5-MeO-DMT or DMT, what happens? They go on a trip. They see reality for what it is. They have an experience that may have lasted 50 years in their mind, but in reality lasted 5 minutes. It's information, pure crystallized light that is made in our own body to inform us about our environment at the time we're in and how to conduct ourselves, but only if we see nature's light and not the light of the simulation. Here's the light of the simulation, and it's coded in the visible spectrum in the color blue. When your body sees the color blue, it is programmed to identify that with daytime. There would not be any blue light after dark in a normal environment without man-made synthetic light. So when you look at a device like your phone after dark, which has a massive amount of blue light, same with your refrigerator light, same with your overhead light, same with the television light, that programs your body to destroy melatonin because it's obviously daytime and you need the hormone cortisol, which is a stress hormone to keep you awake and alert. And you have therefore programmed from nature's light tryptophan to serotonin into melatonin to, through the dream state, convey that information that's been programmed all day, just waiting for your subconscious to digest. You looked at your phone, you watched television, you took that blue light and you destroyed the compound that contained all the information that you need to be alive on our planet at this time of history. Gone. Now, there's many, many studies that are showing this to us, that the blue light is harmful. They're not showing you the information that's contained in it, that's packaged into melatonin, which is basically a form of DMT, pure light crystallized information about our planet at this time, fed to your subconscious at night if you're not seeing the blue light. So how is blue light all around us? Look at this highway, left and right. The yellow light is much more friendly. It's a softer light, and it doesn't destroy as much of the melatonin. It'll still destroy some, but not as much. Now look at the road on the right, and it's so bright white. And this is from CNN from 2018. Blue light, like that from smartphones, is linked to cancers. Let's go on. Melatonin itself, in addition to being this pure light information that we need to learn about our environment and receive the coded knowledge of our time from the spiritual sun is also an anti-obesogen. It keeps you from getting fat. It reduces weight. It's necessary for the proper release and programming of insulin, which we know insulin sensitivity leads to weight gain. Next study, artificial light at night and cancer. This is a global study that says artificial light at night is significantly correlated to all forms of cancer. All forms of cancer correlated to the light inside your home right now because you are consuming information that is synthetic at a time of the day when there should only be darkness. Your melatonin will only release at night when you've seen 2 hours of darkness. Because remember, darkness is not the absence of light or information. It's the absence of visible light. But there's an infinite amount of information and invisible light that is still being read and interpreted by your body at those times. Conclusion. Overall, this study shows that nighttime screen-based media device use is significantly associated with adverse sleep outcomes and poor health quality, poor quality of life by looking at devices after dark. Our own American Medical Association, like the standard care of practice, not even the alternative medicine, will tell you. So this is standard, modern, Rockefeller medicine. American Medical Association warns of the health and safety problems from white LED streetlights. The bright white, what's the light that makes it white like that? Blue. The frequency of blue, the color of blue is what makes it so white. Next, from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology, exposure to room light before bedtime suppresses melatonin onset and shortens melatonin duration. Would you be willing to give up 80% of your anti-cancer hormone at night, or 80% of the information that you need to survive whatever time we're in on the planet? I wouldn't. Here's a chart that shows blue is blue light on this chart and green is green light. So they're measuring melatonin in the body. And when a human sees blue light, so this is time since the light was turned on. So at time 0, it's been dark for 2 hours. And the melatonin is at a very high level, 80 picograms per milliliter. You turn the blue light on and the melatonin crashes to below 20 picograms per milliliter, and it never recovers until the light is completely turned off, which means that that person missed a significant, and I would say over 80% of their melatonin was lost. If we look at the green light, when the green light is turned on, pure green light, also some of the melatonin is destroyed at first, but then it bounces back while the green light is on, which does not occur with the blue light. It's the blue frequency of light that's the most harmful, and that frequency is built into all of our modern day lighting. Another study, National Toxicology Program. This is on PubMed.gov. Final cancer conclusion. There is high confidence that there's a relationship between human cancer and night shift work due to the light exposure at night. And they link it to this concept called LAN, light at night, LAN. Light at night is damaging. Illuminating the deleterious effects of light at night. Again, technological advances are being used so that you can be programmed and sick, and they are not being used to advance your health. This should be what you see in your home at night. You look around the house and it's dark. You look out the window and you can see the stars and the moon, and that is it. And yes, there's some blue light in those stars and the moon, but it is not enough to affect the melatonin. It is so dim, way dimmer than you can typically get an indoor light to be, even a night light, so that it won't affect the information that we're obtaining. This is the view that we see when we look out our window today, filled with synthetic information that is not guiding you to a proper understanding of the world we live in. So when you went to bed in New York City back in the 1800s, this is what it would look like. And New York City today is lit up like it's the middle of the day. You can see miles in front of you, and you're bombarded by programming in the form of images, but also in the form of light. This is what is appropriate 2 hours after sunset in any environment. But this is what is told to you and is programmed into your mind as being appropriate in today's society. And that is why so many people are sick and tired, and they don't know what's going on around them. Now here's an example of the different forms of light all around us. So device lights, like your phone, suppresses about 80% of your melatonin when you look at that phone after dark. CFL, or compact fluorescence, which hopefully you've all gotten rid of because of the mercury issue, also super high spikes of blue light and are going to suppress 80% of your melatonin. Incandescent light bulbs are much, much better and have very little blue light. However, they're still going to suppress 40% of your melatonin, and that's a little bit too much, and I'm not willing to give that up. Firelight, like that from candles and a fire in your fireplace, suppress less than 2% of melatonin. This means for all of human history, when we had firelight, we were not suppressing that information that was programmed into us during the day. The lights that we use today in modern society can be thought about the same way that you think about junk food. You're not going to fill up on junk food day after day, night after night, for your entire life and expect to be healthy. And the same is true with the light information that you consume. This light is junk light. So in addition to all of those things, exposing yourself to purely blue light or high frequency of blue light without red and infrared. You almost never get infrared from indoors. The red and infrared is the antidote to blue, and that's why the sun has 42% infrared coming off of it. More infrared than there is blue light, more infrared than there is red light, more infrared than there is ultraviolet light from the sun, because that's healing. But the screens have just these huge spikes of blue and very little red and no infrared. And so this study says that blue light from screens can steadily blind us. There's a global rise in health hazards caused by blue light-induced circadian disruption in modern societies. So our modern societies are using all these artificial lights. We are aging faster because we're disrupting our circadian rhythm, and we're also losing out on information from the natural environment. This study is the one that is very simple to explain how light can affect more than just the things that we see. These two mice, same exact type of mouse, they were fed the same diet and they were given the same exercise. This is the classic. If you exercise more and you eat less, you will lose weight. Well, guess what? These mice exercised exactly the same. They expended the exact same number of calories, and they were fed exactly the same amount of food. One of them is fat, obese, and one of them is not. The one on the left that is obese, the only difference was that it received light 24 hours a day, while the mouse on the right got 12 hours of darkness. 12 hours of darkness versus 24 hours of light was the only change and the only thing responsible for obesity versus a normal weight. The light information alone changes your entire body. And that's because we know, like here's a study. Government scientists create matter from pure light. Light is information. Light can be slowed down. Crystallized light. That's what crystals are. That's what DMT is. It's crystallized light information, pure information. So this is what I want you all to do, is to reverse the simulation from the movies. Instead of wearing your sunglasses outdoors during the day, I want you to take them off outside during the day and get that information from the bright white sun through your body, through your eyes, into your brain to program the tryptophan, which will become melatonin, to be released after dark, to give you the dreams, to decode the reality all around you while you sleep from that DMT molecule called melatonin. However, When you are indoors at night after dark, that is when you're going to wear the sunglasses. Indoors, after the sun sets, when you're still awake. But you're going to wear blue light blocking glasses because it's that blue frequency of light we need to block to allow the body to program the melatonin to be released. Here's another study. Sun exposure reduces the risk of obesity. So by exposing yourself to natural light, nature's light, the correct information that we need to live and not synthetic information, we maintain appropriate weight. But if you're wearing glasses or sunglasses or contacts, that's going to block nature's light outdoors. So I highly recommend everybody take advantage of all the studies that have been done and get outside at dawn, as close to sunrise as possible, to program. This is the time when there's no ultraviolet light in the sun. It's very safe. It can't burn you. It won't give you a tan. And you're going to get that light through your naked eyes by not wearing your glasses, sunglasses, or contacts, getting as much of it on your skin as possible. And you're going to program that tryptophan from that sun, the information we need for the time, the critical period of time that we're in, comes from the sun into your body through the tryptophan and released as DMT, melatonin at night to give you the dreams to decode our reality. On your phone, this is a typical Android phone, and your phone can turn the blue light, the blue frequency off, or it can lessen it. It's built right into your phone. I don't care if you have an Android or an Apple or an iPad or even a laptop. You can do these things on all those devices. Here is an iPhone where you can actually use night shift, which takes out some of the blue, or you can take out all of the blue. And you can find a YouTube video on how to take the blue light off of your iPhone with one touch of a button and make it red after dark. Highly recommend that you do this if you're going to look at a device after dark. But what I want all of you to do is when you wear your sunglasses indoors after the sun sets, you are blocking the fake, altered junk light, and you're allowing pure information, the information of darkness, to enter your eyes, to release melatonin, which can transform back and forth between serotonin and DMT. And it's going to allow you to decode that spiritual information that was not blocked from the true sun because you didn't wear your sunglasses outside. You didn't block that spirit outside. But you instead took advantage of that real information. And on the simulated reality, when you go indoors, you're blocking them with the appropriate technology. So I want you to get a pair of blue light blocking glasses. I want you to shield yourself from the simulation at night. And I want you to open up to natural sunlight during the day. It's as simple as buying a $2 pair of these blue blockers off Amazon if you just want to try it out. Obviously, there's better pairs that look really good that you can wear out to a friend's house or a restaurant or a movie after dark. But honestly, if you just want to try this for yourself for 2 weeks, you can literally get a pair for about $2.99 off Amazon. They look like safety glasses, but just put in blue blocking glasses, and what you want to look for is a pair of UVEX safety goggles. They're designed for like laser light, but they're really inexpensive. I know a couple years ago we bought a pack of 13 of them for $13. That was $1 a piece. You can hand them out to all your kids and your husband and your wife and your friends, and just try it. Try it for 2 weeks. Pay attention to your dreams and pay attention to how you feel when you wake up. And while you're doing this, I want you to go outside as close to dawn as possible. And I want you to take off any glasses, sunglasses, or contacts and get that natural information programmed into your system to decode the reality all around you and step out of the simulated matrix and start to join those of us learning about our reality.